Hey there, this is Pam Perry. Pam Perry's picks for you to really get some good books, right? So I love books. So this is Pam Perry's books. We are streaming on Amazon, hopefully in a few. Amazon Live is acting like it's got some issues right now, but we're going to be talking about growing in the gray today. I should have wore gray, huh? Uh, So I'm trying to do Amazon Live, but if not, we'll just actually upload it. But Growing in the Gray is a new novel by an author who I have with me today, Christian Cook. All right. And she'll be able to tell you all about it. But this book is really for the YA adult or for those who are in book clubs that really want to have a good, juicy book. All right. And this is one of those good, juicy books. So I'm going to have Christian come up and give you a little bit about who she is. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Pam. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So this is the book Growing in the Gray. This is actually your sophomore novel, right?
Yes.
So give us first of all a little bit of why you came up with the title, and then tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so Growing in the Gray is a title that I came up with. It almost kind of came naturally to me because the character, she's growing through all these different obstacles that she's facing as she's trying to becoming an adult, while nothing is black or white or seems solid, but is gray. So she's literally growing through all these in-between stages in her life.
And so, does the character have any resemblance to you? I mean, you had to morph into this particular character, right?
Yes, so the character is loosely based off of myself and my life experiences. As you can see in the book, specifically Krista Clark, she's from Michigan. I'm
Mhm.
from Michigan. She wants to move to Chicago. I moved to Chicago to go to Columbia College, Chicago. So those are the two major inspirations, I would say, for my life. So I
Okay.
decided to put them in this specific book. The rest of the experiences that Krista goes through, that's when I got to have a lot of fun and add on all the fictional elements that is seen throughout the entire book.
So when I'll read a little bit of the back cover here. It says Growing in the Gray centers around Krista Clark's once upper middle class family as their economic downfall threatens to impact her college choice. This is the last thing she needs as she navigates to a new city, works to ditch her lame high school label, and tries to figure out what she wants from a guy who can't seem to give her the clear signal to save his life. It says just when she thinks she has it all figured out by choosing to go to Chicago and starting her life over, it doesn't take long to figure out that not everything goes as planned. And so, one of the things it says embarking on adult life isn't black and white. Hence, I guess you say that's where the gray comes from, right? Uh, Her anxiety spikes as doubts weigh on her mind. She second guesses leaving home for a taste of big city glamour and even the most minute daily choices. She needs more than moral compass to get her through the twists and turns that throws her way. And so would you consider this like one of those I guess you would say a book from the age of someone who is high school, like 14, 15, up to maybe age 25 or maybe 18 to 34? What is the you think is the sweet spot of the book?
I would say 16 to 25 is the sweet
Okay.
spot.
Okay. All right.
We have, let me see, Catherine Clark, Krista's little sister, who's in high school. We have Krista Clark. She's 17 and 18 in the novel, and then Valentina, the older sister, who's also a college dropout, not really knowing exactly where she wants to go in life. She's 23. So we have like a good mix of different young adult stages within the book itself.
So where did the love for writing come from, I guess you would say? Where did all of this come from? Where did you really start the whole journey of the gray, I guess you would say?
I've always loved writing my entire life. I used to even enter different creative writing story contests in elementary school. I remember reading Rainbow had one that I entered. I think I was like in third grade. So it was just, this was something that I knew I had a talent for. But when you're
Mhm.
younger, I didn't really see it as maybe a possible career, which is something I did for fun or
Right.
on the side. Even English was always my favorite class. I won spelling bees when I was a kid. When I was a kid, so I always just had a love for language, for storytelling. And as I got older, when I first went to Columbia College Chicago, I was actually a journalism major because I
Mm-hmm.
thought I like writing. I want to tell stories, but after my intro to journalism class, actually, I knew it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, because that's just really reporting facts. That's not a lot
It's
of
not the
things.
it's not the same. It's
Yeah,
not where I can like, and that's where in that class I learned I can't express myself. They just want me to just tell the story exactly how it is. I'm like, can I use these words? The teacher was like, no. And I'm like, okay, so I know I'm not in the right spot. But from there, I got into PR and I like events and I like pitching and I like getting to know people. And I feel like it's a lot of fun. So that's where that major in PR came from. But I never left my my passion of writing and telling stories. I would go to cafes after classes and just work on my book. And I didn't really tell anyone this was going to happen because I didn't know it was actually going to happen.
right, right, right. And I'm doing the Amazon Live on the phone as well as in the StreamYard and doing the Twitter and doing the YouTube. So I may have you repeat some of those things for the Amazon as well. But I really want people to understand that you did this little trip to Paris. So explain the birth of how that writing for you really opened up.
So I went to Paris my junior year of college. I got accepted into a writing program there. It was a 2 week intensive writing program where we literally wrote every single day. We got to visit different cafes, different American writers visited while they were there on their journeys of becoming writers as well. And right before the Paris trip, I actually wasn't submitting my writing like I used to. I used to just submit short stories all the time to random different literary magazines or maybe different outlets that school kind of informed us about. But after I've got accepted a few times, but I remember being denied a lot right before the trip. So it kind of killed my spirit a little bit. I'm like, I thought I was really talented at this. And I know I have good stories to tell, but they're not being accepted. And if I didn't go on the trip to Paris and see how well people took my skill and my writing and how much they enjoyed my work, I don't even think this book would have ever happened because
Mm,
around that time I just felt so discouraged.
right, right. And so, what do you say to those that are aspiring writers, especially for fiction? What kind of things that you could share with them now in terms of your publishing process, being that you had a publisher, uh, one and two, and getting on Amazon and all the things that have to do with marketing and PR, getting in bookstores, getting in libraries? I mean, so what can you say to someone like, okay, it's more than just the writing? What else should a potential author prepare for, I guess you would say?
I love the fact that you said it's not just the
I'm not
writing,
sure I understand.
because a lot of people think it's just the talent that's going to take them from where they are to where they want to go, and that's not the case. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of, I would say, strategy. That is the key to success, is coming up with a strategy that you actually have the energy to pour into.
Ooh.
So for me, I went to Printers Row Lit Fest last year, and I was just getting to know different people within the publishing industry. It's right here in
Mhm.
Chicago. I'm like, I didn't have to travel far to go to it. Let me just put myself in front of different authors, different publishers. I was gathering business cards. And then
Mhm.
after that event, I emailed a few and I told them I have a manuscript ready, because I actually finished this book very quickly. Um, it did
Which
not
one?
take me long. I would say I do have a pretty fun personal life, but if I didn't take take a break to like have my little fun that I do, I think I probably finished this book in about 2 months.
Wow.
It didn't take long.
Yeah, yeah, because usually it takes people years. Some,
Yes,
well, as long as a year. I've heard as long as a year, but a couple of months is pretty fast.
I finished it pretty quickly, and the it actually took longer for me to find a publisher because I'm reading all the different information about each one's. Some of them you have to have an agent before just to even get pitched to a publisher, but with the smaller ones, the road to getting to them is a little different. So I
Mhm.
actually met my publisher in person. She loved the manuscript. She asked me, did I have to edit it before? And I told her no, because I'm such a harsh critic on myself sometimes that as I was writing it, I'll finish a chapter and then I'll go back to edit the chapter and then I'll work on the next chapter. So I did all of that part myself. After the publishing process specifically, it is making sure that people know you exist. You can't just throw a book up on Amazon
Ooh,
and then hope people find out about it and
right.
just post it to your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, and then your maybe 1,000 or so followers see it. So knowing that I work in PR, I'm like, I need to get someone who knows more people than me, who can actually help and shape my career. So a publicist is also a key to your success
Hmm.
as an author as well.
Hmm.
And also, if you are a person, make yourself worth knowing before the cameras get here.
That's it. That is
That
so
is
true. Mm.
something that I think is really important. And I don't do what I do to get praise for it. It's more of just like good things that I've done in my community or at my church or any groups that I've been a part of. That just comes from the goodness of my heart.
Hmm.
So even when I pitch myself, sometimes I'm still able to get feedback from the press because of who I am in total.
Hmm. Hmm.
Me and my brand go hand in hand. I would never advertise myself as someone I'm not, just to get a book to sell.
Right, right. And also too finding the support through your networks as well, because just recently your high school where you're from in Detroit recognize you as well. You send it to them and then they actually send it out. And then your other school, Columbia, they send. So talk about the importance of just like not staying quiet with your book, because book clubs need to pick it up. They need to read it,
Sure.
but they have to find it first. So tell us about the support from your university.
So I've had a lot of support actually from my high school and my college. My high school, I reached out to Farmington Public Schools, then they got me connected with the communications specialist, and then she sent out a release on my behalf. So I was like really grateful for that. Now I'm on the notable alumni list for my high school. College, Columbia, and I feel like I will always have a very deep connection with that school because I grew into the woman I am today because of my college experiences. And I
And
wouldn't
you,
have
and you talk about it in the book.
exactly
That's
like,
the setting. Yeah.
yes. And most of the setting is there where I really got to explore who I was, my interests, travel, and do all these things so I could have these stories to share.
Hmm.
They posted about me on their LinkedIn. They also invited me to be in their mentorship program. I have a speaking engagement at the end of the month, and I'm really excited about that because this is my first in person speaking engagement, and it
Right.
just so happens to be at my college that I
And that's
graduated
good.
from.
And so a lot of the people who are in the at Columbia, they could see themselves because you do the settings and all of that. So you did this in a couple of months in but you also did another book as well. Did you do both of them at the same time? Like you wrote one and then you said, well, this is going to be for the sequel, and then is there going to be one after this?
So my first one, I didn't even know I was writing my first one. It was actually really just me stringing along journal entries.
Hmm.
And then the summer after freshman year of college was over and I was at my parents' house, I'm like, I might as well make this into a book.
Hmm.
So that's how that happened.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And
So
then,
then the second book was like you felt like it needed to have more of a like a guess you say a finish, so to speak. And is it going to be a trilogy or is this going to be it?
so this book came together after I read my first one. And I was reading my first one, I was just like making notes all throughout the first one. Like the copy that I have in my house of my first one literally has dog-eared pages. Every page has like different sentences, like I should have added this. And then I came with different scenes. And I'm like,
Mhm.
why don't I just make the next book, this book with all these different added scenes that I didn't do the first time. I didn't feel brave
Yes.
enough to say them because when I wrote I Hate Gray, I was 17 and I'm like, I feel kind of awkward about talking about some of these things right now. I'll just wait until I feel more comfortable.
Right.
But last year when I was 24, I'm like, I don't really have all these inhibitions that I had when I was younger. Let's just go full force. And this story is so much richer. than
Mm-hmm.
my first one, and because I decided just to go for it full force. Now, for the series, Growing in the Gray covers the freshman year. I already have a title for the second one after Growing in the Gray. I'm just about 2 chapters finished with that one,
Okay.
and it's going to cover her sophomore year adventure. So I really want everyone to see freshman year up until senior year, and maybe, I'm not sure, we could do a post grad synopsis, because that time is also very strange, which I wish I had like a post grad coach or something like that. It was rough.
That was it. So you talk about the book in scenes. So do you eventually see this as a movie, television series? Where's the next step for writing a screenplay for it? What's the next step for you?
I feel like anything I write is easily adaptable to a screen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been told. And even as I was reading my own work, like certain scenes popped out to me in a way that I saw them in my head. If
So
I ever got the opportunity to maybe either do a mini series or even a movie, I feel like those two would be the best for this body of work.
so if you were to pick the Krista Clark's an actress who could play her, and then like have you like said, okay, if this were going to be a movie, this is who would play this is who would play that. So give us kind of like
It's
the synopsis.
hard to say for the sisters,
Okay.
because I've been thinking about that. But for the parents, I feel like Cedric the Entertainer would be a great Craig Clark. I feel like
Okay.
he would be great. And I feel like Niecy Nash would be a good Shelley Clark. Those are the
Ooh.
parents. I feel like that
Mhm.
would be, because they're both kind of funny. They have
Yeah.
like their banter together. I could see that for some reason. That's what I already casted in my head.
Hmm.
Um, but the sisters,
Maybe Kiki Palmer.
Kiki Palmer would be a good choice. The little sister would probably be a good Marseille Martin or
Hmm.
even Sky Jackson. I feel like either one of the two of them. And then the older sister,
Maybe
maybe
Tamara.
I was thinking Coco Jones.
Okay.
She's newer on the scene, and she's also the new Hillary Banks on the revamped like Fresh Prince
Oh,
on Peacock
oh,
TV.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. There's
Yes.
so many outlets for, streaming now, like you said, Peacock TV, Apple TV, Netflix, or whatever.
Mhm.
So, one of the things, you're learning, and basically for any author, they're learning the whole landscape of how to navigate the literary world, right? The whole
Yes.
industry and all that, but then also too, then there's the movie side. So then taking a novel and having that adapted and finding the different film festivals and networking with the producers and the screenwriter. I mean, that whole thing. So it's like you go to all of the book festivals and all of the writers' conferences, but then you also have like all of the other side of that where you're going to the film festivals, right?
Mhm.
And you got to meet those folks
Exactly.
as well because that's the whole part. That's the beauty of fiction versus nonfiction. The fiction can really grow into more, Terry McMillan, obviously, Waiting to Exhale, and all of her stuff. Still got her groove back. All of those books and things like that all those movies came out of those books. So that's one of the beauty of that. I mean, there's some nonfiction books. Steve Harvey had
Yeah.
some books that, his nonfiction book became but that was Steve Harvey. But for the most part, it's really from like the fiction things like that.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things. So what is next for Christian Cook? And I want people to know that they can go to, and you'll have it up soon, but they can find all the information at christiancookWrites.com,
Yes.
christiancookWrites.com, because that's a site that has like the trailer there where you can actually see it. But we want to encourage
Mhm.
people to go to Amazon and pick it. It came out the gate. It was a bestseller right in its categories. The first week, and it's still trending in the bestseller categories for young adult. It's not really quote unquote like a Bible thumping Christian book, but it is based on faith. So that's what you want to really let people know as well, that it's based
Yes, it's a
on faith.
faith-based novel, and that's the
Mm.
way I describe it, because when you're coming from a world that you're not a part of, and you're trying to get into that space, no one looks like you, no one talks like you, no one acts like you, and that can mean in every single category, not even just like race or beliefs. and it's, you're like a fish out of water, and but this is what you said you wanted. So she has to believe that the space that she said she wanted to be in, she wants to be an art curator, she wants to be in a big city and live a completely different life and really start her life over. She has to have faith that it's going to work, because if she
Mhm.
didn't believe it was going to work, she could have just packed the suitcase up home, went back to Michigan, and that would have been that.
Right, right. So she had to do the leap of faith for sure.
Yeah, she had to have a leap of faith and stick with it, even when it got awkward and extremely uncomfortable.
Oh my God. And so have any bookstores or that sort of thing picked up on the book, or have you approached any of the bookstores? Not
Yes.
bookstores, but a lot of the book clubs, I mean. Hmm.
So let me see. With bookstores, I've been doing my outreach. We are currently in two in Chicago, Madison Street Books, and we're also at Sand Myers Bookstore in Chicago.
Okay.
In Detroit, we are at the Wayne State University Bookstore,
Yeah.
and we are also at Book Culture in New York. But I'm
Hmm.
also in talks with a few other bookstores, so we'll see
Yeah.
where we're going to get there.
And it'll be in God's World in Detroit as well.
Yes, that's going to be there too. Got to get them their copies.
Oh, good,
As far
good.
as book clubs, I have been doing some research on a few different book clubs that the book could be a good fit for. And then from there, I'll just be reaching out to them too. But I am hopefully going to, I would like to be in a book club by the end of the year. That's one of my goals.
Yeah, yeah. And there is the National Black Book Festival. You were on their TV show. They
Yes,
have
that
a
was so
list.
much fun.
Yeah, Gwen Richardson, she has a list of book clubs as well. She has a young adult. I don't know if she mentioned that or not, but she has a
No,
she has a young adult daughter who is probably 24, I believe, right in the sweet spot of the book.
exactly.
Yeah, so definitely ask her as well because there is so many things. I just saw um yeah. So anyway, so she definitely has a list of book clubs because one of the things about novels, you have to read it in order to be part of the conversation. You kind of know the themes of the book, but
Mhm.
actually when you come together as a book club, you can discuss it and actually go deeper into the characters and just say which ones, resonate with me and that kind of thing. So that's one of the things I was saying, that book clubs are really, really good for the discussion part. And the other part I was just thinking too, probably to help guide some of the book clubs, is put together like a discussion guide, I guess you would say, for the book club leaders. So they would say,
Exactly.
like, hey, these are the questions we're going to talk about. And so that will kind of be good too, where you can let people know. That'll be on the website as well eventually, where it's like, hey, this is for book club. These are your discussion questions for your book club.
No, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that part. I come up with some good discussion guide questions.
Yeah, because, if not these book clubs, they'll be off on a tangent. You need to give them some kind of
That's true.
guidance. They'll be like, oh yeah, let's just, and it's like, okay, let's get back to the questions here that the author kind of said we should probably look at a little bit further. So that is good. That is good. Well, Christian, thank you so much for joining Pam Perry's Picks. This is a great book. I Hate Gray was the first one. This is a sophomore. You're going to have another book and another book all the way through. But I look forward to seeing more works from you, and
Thank you,
really,
Pam.
yeah, and just really just knowing that this is really good. This is really good. This is not everybody dreams about writing a book. Not everybody actually publishes a book. So this is good. And I love this cover. This is one
I'm
of
in
those
love with the cover. Like, I
I
gasped
love.
when I first saw it. I'm like, this is the one.
This is it. You know it. You know it. So that's
Mhm.
why I know this is like a winner. This is a winner. So thank you so much for joining us today. Pam Perry Speaks on Amazon. So go to christiancookWrites.com or make sure that you go to Amazon and get it there as well. It's right in the show notes. All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye bye.
Right.